of the universe.
Yeah, this is your forum. You ask the questions and we'll answer.
Well, she's the moderator.
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do.
Well, I can tell you what I don't want to get into.
What you want to do?
Well, we'll talk about anything.
But
Anything.
No, don't ask the question. It's easier. Go.
How long did it take to make an episode?
Forever.
40,000 years.
Yes.
plus or minus 10 days, so kind of round that off to 2 weeks. But in our case, we were under the gun so much, you figure that's what we had, 14, 15-hour days?
We had one 18-hour day. Remember they took us to dinner and swapped out the crew? They wouldn't have to pay the crew all the time. And we were all like standing there like, we didn't know what day it was.
But wait a minute, the first 3 hours took 68 days. The first show, you were talking about that?
Pilot.
The pilot, the feature film version?
That started in March, April, May. We finished in May or so.
Is that a camera that's filming this behind you?
Oh, no, that's the projector.
Oh, okay.
No, way back.
I'm shooting your butt.
Everyone just got to explain the beautiful show.
Oh, okay.
Hey, did you guys like that?
Hold up. Wasn't Jack great? Wasn't Jack great?
Oh.
It was. Oh, wait a minute. That's right. That's Jack wasn't. That's
No.
Neither was I.
Oh, that's right.
I know you insulted everybody on this.
Who's got another bit? Who's got another?
Jack would be on the set. Please can I be in the show?
Oh, here. Person here.
And then when I was, it was who's got to be in the shot?
Patrick McKee, when he came back later as not one of the silent voices, actually being there with him on the bridge and whatnot. I grew up watching him too, so I was really cool seeing him actually there.
Did you watch him in The Adventures?
I did.
Oh, man.
Yeah, all of that, yeah.
So did we, long before we were actors, we worked.
I talked about yesterday about Diana Ray.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so can I tell my favorite Pat's Lee story? Some of you might know this. If you bought the box set with the Sylon ad on it, that has the additional footage and interviews. That episode, he's kind of a mixture of like the devil, but he's dressed like a wedding cake. And he gets me under his spell, and I'm like all sort of googly-eyed all the time. There was a scene in the aggro ship, the garden ship, where he kisses me. And I am totally under his spell. And I say something like, I'm afraid. And his line of dialogue, as written in the script to me, was, oh, Sheba, nothing can harm you as long as I am inside you. For real. And this dear man, he would say that to me, and I go, I tried looking at his forehead, at his ears. There is one surviving piece of footage of that line, and it's in that box set with the Sylon head on it. And he says, oh, Sheba, nothing can harm you as long as I am inside you. He loses it. I called, I wasn't like that kind of haughty or anything, but I called Glenn Morrison and I said, he can't say that to me. That man say that to me. And he said, I'm coming right down to the set. I said, well, it's the spiritual intent of it. And I went,
No, I was brought in when the show decided to add the second Battlestar, and they wanted to add another dimension to the show other than just fleeing from the Sons. So the Pegasus was supposed to be this very much warrior ship, which is supposed to create now tension between the two Battlestars, which gave a whole new dynamic to the show, made the show a whole lot more interesting. And of course, the Pegasus was always supposed to come back in year 2. The Pegasus came back at the same time we all came back in year 2.
Right.
Was never. But no, that was it. And I was hired in all honesty because I had a very good working relationship with Richard. And Bojay was a strong character, and Glenn wanted to make sure that, we wouldn't add another, male to the cast and create supposedly tension for who's the alpha male and all of that. So that's how it was explained to me. I was just very grateful to have a job and very grateful that Glenn said he wanted to come on the show. So, and interesting enough as it was, in the original script of Living Legend, the first script I got, Bojay was killed on Gomorrah. And at the end of the first hour of shooting, which went on forever, days and nights, I got called to go to Glenn's office, which is like if you're a baseball player, you're told to go to the manager's office. I mean, it's usually death. And Glenn looked at me and said, I don't know what to do with you. And I went, what did I do wrong? He said, no, nothing. He said, I want to keep you on the show. I'm going to rewrite the last scene, but I brought in Lockhart as a very strong female. I have all the women in the show screaming for work, for more, dramatic stuff. And he said, I just don't know how to add you as a strong character full time right now. And this is the way it always was. This happened at a period in my life that I was basically not going. I was booked to do a 2-hour police story immediately after Galactica, and I had a half-hour sitcom after that. And I looked at that. You can't do this to me. I'm not available. You can't offer to bring me on the show as a regular cast member. I'm not available. And Glenn said, thank God. So what I'd like to do is give you a scene here, a scene there, and that'll solve my problem, and we'll make Bojay a permanent cast member in year 2. We never got there. But I did get to stay alive. But Dirk does pretend that I was really killed.
I thought I'm still in Suture. I remember your death scene. It was fantastic.
It was good. I was trying
And
to
Starbuck was there. Starbuck was there. He said, "Don't worry, you'll be alive as long as I'm in the." And he said, practices said, "No. But maybe spiritually, I was giving the Starbuck spirit."
I know. Now today that's PG.
Oh, God.
Jack, I want to tell them the stories that Jack was, how many shows did you die in and how many different ways? This is a great story.
We were canceled because of you.
When I got to California and stuff, one of the first people I would work for, thank goodness for them, and to preface this, people like Glenn and Aaron Spelling and the major producers, if they liked you, they used you. One person that really liked me was Quinn Martin. If you got in Quinn Martin's stables, it was gold. Because, he had Streets and Barnaby Jones and Wanted and MI and all. So I go up to San Francisco, to the first Streets of San Francisco, which I'm slaughtered in. And now I get hired to do all the shows. And I realize that I'm getting slaughtered in every show. And so I'm having lunch with John Conwell, who's the head of casting of Quinn Martin, and Jim Merrick, who's head of casting of Streets. And I'm like, I don't understand this. You think like, just pissing and moaning at her. How come I can't get past age 13? How come I can't get the girl? How come I don't get to be the murderer and all this? And little do I know, but walking right up behind me is Quinn Martin. And John Conwell looks up and goes, well, why don't you tell him? And I turn around, and there's, now go, you know better. And Quinn put his hand on my shoulder and said, Jack, you will never get past the first commercial. You will never, don't even bother to read a script past page 12. Because anytime you work for me, you're going to die. 16 by 20 photo of me lying face down on the beach, right in the streets of San Francisco, and the actor then, Carl Franklin, who's now going on to be big director, Carl Franklin pulled my head up like that, and the inscription across the bottom is Jack doing what you do best, your friend.
Do you still have that photograph?
Oh yeah.
You should get clips.
You know, Carl
all the
Franklin,
Of all your
episodes.
deaths,
All the
that would be
episodes.
terrible.
Oh, geez.
Carl Franklin was a summer ranger on Navy.
Yeah, he was a wonderful actor, and now he does a lot of directing.
He was up for moving, you know. It came down to Carl and about 4 or 5 of us in that final callback out of 50, I think.
Well, he was a very quiet, very quiet.
Who's got a question in there, out there?
Did any of you read for another character when you first auditioned for the show?
I read for Sheba. Because my hair was really long. Actually, Benny Coleman, our director of photography, when we came back, we had a little break after the first, we came back and my hair was really long, and I had a scene with Marilyn, we were coming around, we're having a fight, coming around, we're like, he said, you gotta cut your, he said, well, you know, when you come around, I said, I couldn't tell which was the girl, which was the boy, your hair is as long as Marilyn, Jason, you gotta cut it.
I actually was sent a very early script. That's very, very early, which was not at all what it evolved into. But I turned down the script he sent me. And later on, he called me and said, I am bringing in a new character. I'd like to write it for you. So she was script for me. So the answer is no. I never auditioned for that.
Well, I had a really fantastic experience where I was under contract to Universal as a contract player. I had just come, I graduated from university, moved to New York, and within 2 weeks I got put under contract with Universal, which is amazing. I was waitressing at Beefsteak Charlie's, and the day that I had my audition, the Board of Health closed the restaurant.
That was your favorite dinner.
And I went to my audition, and I will say this too, the other waitresses who've been longtime waitresses there, they called me, this is what they called me, they called me Amy, Jo, Beth, and what's the fourth? From Little Women.
Oh, the Little Women.
Yes, because I was so naive and kind of green, and they really hated me. And so then, anyway, so I went for that interview, got put under contract to Universal, came out to Los Angeles. So when I got to audition for Battlestar Galactica, and I, just was very serious as an actress, and I went in and I had to do this little scene, something like 100 microns in closing, 99 microns in closing, or red alert, red alert. So anyway, so there I was sitting in the middle of the room, and Glenn Larson was at his desk, and there were several other people, producers and so forth. I mean, there were like 7 or 8 people in the room. It was like a semicircle, and here I was sitting in the middle. And so I used my hand as a microphone, and so I said very, very earnestly, 100 microns in closing, 99 microns in closing, and red alert, and after I finished, and then I just looked up, and Glenn burst into laughter, and everybody just burst into laughter, and I started laughing, and Glenn said, oh, you're hired.
Battlestar Galactica 1980. Any of you guys have something back to say?
Well, Lauren.
I think Richard was.
Yeah.
Lauren,
There was
I was.
conversation, but
the last one.
You did that one episode.
I don't know, I thought you meant when they brought back the show. Glenn called me at the end, he said, the show's been canceled, we got one last episode, would you come, I've written this script, would you come and do it? And I owe everything to Glenn because he put me in the original, and nobody wanted me, the network hated me, and the Universal was on board, but the network refused to hire me.
you got to stay alive.
I did get that. Well, barely, they kept sending memos about how they hated my performance.
He's killed
I
you.
would have been fired except I got paid.
Well, I could have gotten you into Good Martin if you could have gotten killed.
Do you know, I never got one freaking job at Quinn Myer.
Because you
Well,
won.
I never got any job. No, Quinn Myer, I never worked at any of those, sure. That was before my time.
Yeah, it
You
sounds.
never did the streets? Streets or Cannon, nothing for 20 miles.
I never had a career. I had 2 jobs. One was Battlestar, one was the Audition.
Not
Pretty
too
much
bad.
it. I mean, I had no,
Episodic stuff.
no. I did a murder she wrote way later than early 90s, and I did well, I got into show business by doing a play in Hawaii.
Hello? That's where we met.
She was 16 or something.
I was 18. I
18.
just turned 18. He
I had
was in the
started on
production
Broadway.
ahead of me, and I was coming in to rehearse the show. That's how long we've known each other.
Yeah, I was a New York actor, and I've been on Broadway doing a play called Butterflies Are Free. It closed. They said, oh, you'll be in Hawaii. You want to go do it? I've never been to Hawaii. I said, oh, it'll be fun. It'll be beaches. I go. Barbara Rush, wonderful, wonderful actress. And Melanie Patterson was married to Jamie MacArthur, who had been in F-Troop. It was funny. It was a hoot. During that, they casted people from Hawaii Five-O something. So, Major goes, hey, I want you to do so we did a guest shot of Hawaii. I've never been in front of the camera, so, and I hated the whole experience except Jamie MacArthur and I became lifelong friends. But it was miserable. I didn't like performing in front of the camera, I didn't like the thing. And I got Jack Ward stories. My problem was, never mind, we won't go there. No, he was great. He was such a fan. And anyway, I hated it. So I'm on the way back to New York. I stopped to visit James. I went to school with James. He was in Halls of Anger. James. Anyway, he was a friend of mine. And while I'm there, my agent from New York calls and says, hey, you got to go out to Universal Studios. You have a meeting with Richard Zanuck, who had just been fired as the head of 20th Century Fox. So he's a big name. Daryl Zanuck is his dad. Richard Zanuck started his own production company. I learned later, but David Brown. Universal, I've been in this movie studio, and out there, all this stuff is doing. I go into his office, it's about the size of this room. Big desk, and this little short guy with a big jawline. And we sat down and talked for about 45 minutes about Montana and fishing and skiing and this and that. That was it. I left. I said, I didn't know nothing about anything. When I got back, my agent had called this place I was staying with my friend. And says, you got the lead in a movie that Richard Zanuck and Dave Brown first movie. And that was the horror movie. So I didn't know. I mean, I hadn't read the script. I just said, yeah, I'm an actor. It's a job. When you're an actor, you just want a job. I didn't go, well,
Strother Martin. Is that Strother?
yeah, Strother Martin became a best friend. And through him, I met Newman and Redford and all those guys because he was part of that club. So I got to hang out with those guys for about 4 years. But it was so strange. And then I was going to go back, really got back to New York. So it was all an accident. And then I went away for 3 years. And then Glenn Larson, bless his heart, rediscovered me. I had no money to do this. Somebody had a meeting with him and we hit it off and he was writing this thing and I didn't know at the time. So he thought to put me in Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, yeah.
Pam Dixon, she hated me.
Oh.
She didn't hire me.
She hated everybody.
Her final line was, he's just not sexy. So it's in my book actually. It was sort of, and Glenn Larson, so they filmed for a week, and then he goes to Frank Price, who's the head of television at that time, and he's, what are we going to do about Starbuck? He works Monday, we can't stop. What do you mean, it's third day? No, Matt Dixon, Tony Tomato says, absolutely not. Why not? He's not sexy enough. Frank Price said, this is war. I want everybody in my house Sunday to minute, so they screened. I had 5 screen tests I had for the network. First they said it was too young, then they said it wasn't macho enough. Then they said it was too short. Then the final one is not sexy. They just didn't want me, so they're stalling, knowing that. And they had their guy waiting.
It was Lord dear Barry Van Dyke.
Barry Van Dyke.
Who
So
was
he
wardrobe and had been given a work call from Monday.
right, he was waiting.
Poor guy. I mean, he's a long
Because he
friend
was,
of mine.
because Pam Dixon's husband is Marty, what's his name?
The agent.
Who was Barry Van Dyke's agent. I told him what.
It was
So
all such a sneaky.
it was all right. So I had him for Frank Price and Glenn Larson. I never would have done that show. Never would have done that.
Same with me. She didn't want anything to do with me. Glenn Larson said, I've written it for her. That's it. You're done.
Well, that was me.
And I found out years later they screen tested actresses for the role of Sheba. And made test kits. And I was like, it was never, and I thought, how many times have I been screen listed when somebody already had it?
It's so weird, you know, they hated everything I did. Hated everything. Hated the cigar, hated the womanizing, hated the reluctance. I made it kind of reluctant to go into that. Hated that, hated it, hated it. I would have been fired except I got a lot of fun. And I had to quit smoking. Glenn came down, got a memo, one more cigar expired from NBC. So Glenn said, look, we just kind of have to, because we don't need, and then I got cigars sent to me, so then I just started smoking again. Anyway,
Silly.
that's my story, I'm sticking to it. So Glenn Larson, may he rest in peace.
Yes, I owe everything to him too.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Glenn's sons in the audience. Over here, you may see me making faces. This is Glenn's grandson, ladies and gentlemen. Now put your mask down. Show them what's going on.
I see a lot of Glenn in
Oh yeah, and his granddaughter too, Leanne.
Oh, the granddaughter, yeah.
Oh, I know.
And Anna, Mrs. Glenn Eric Larson. This is Glenn Eric Larson. Well, Glenn's daughter.
So question from you said earlier, that the ladies were giving feedback to Glenn about wanting bigger roles and more dramatic scenes. How was that working with Glenn and with, with writing? Was it a loop back sort of thing? Was it Stevie Page's Here's What You Do? Or do you get feedback and say, I don't think my character would do this?
Honey, sometimes we got pages after we shot this. I'm not kidding. There's a scene, I don't know what episode it's in, where we're all in like the pilot's war room or something, planning our attack on something or other. And they've given us the pages. Right? Is it living?
Yeah, it's the
Tackle two segments of Living Legend.
Vince.
There are you. We're sitting next to a pole of some kind, and he's the page. So you can see him do this in his chair. I think that we should. Blah, 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 blah. Mine was in my lap. I was doing things like. My suggestion is, I mean, it's a short. This wasn't Vince. No, it was an Indian man who was fired after 2 days. He was an Indian guy. But I can't remember what his name was, but he was an Indian man.
Robbie Shane?
And they fired him after 2 days. So this, you know what it is? I think it was War of the Gods. I think it was War of the Gods. And everybody is, doing everything but like looking in their armpits for the dialogue. Because, we had it was glued everywhere.
We need some time. All of us are professionals here. All of us come from the theater. We all have our individual ways of learning our lines, going prepared. We can't really do our job until we're off book. You understand? So we can utilize this whole instrument. But when you we're very good at it. It's our job. That's why they call us professional actors and actresses. But when you hand me a script 15 minutes before you're ready to
and then turn the camera on, it's like,
hey, certain scenes. They deleted all of my shirtless.
I asked for that to be done. I was going to be on damn scene with him
I
next.
can't. Okay. When I left, I was cast out of they made the final determination of who was going to get the boomer role after Terry Gordon's angle at ABC corporate headquarters in Studio City, California. I got the nod, and there was a limo waiting for me outside. They were ready to shoot then and there. I hopped in the limo. The limo took me from Century City over Beverly Plaza, I believe, which is a canyon in Los Angeles for those of you who don't know LA. Brought me over to Universal, and they're ready to shoot that first scene, the casino scene with Dirk Benedict, just before the sneak attack. If you all remember that, right? Well, now the boots were ready, the pants were ready, but the tunic needed to. The tunic.
He has no shirt, no problem, just
No,
put it on.
no, but the thing is, that needed to be tailored. It could not come off the rack. Okay, well, it wasn't ready for me. So it was finally decided, look, these guys are in a birthing area. This is a locker room situation. Just let these guys, some of them go shirtless, you know? So that was fine with me. So I come, that very first scene that you see me without a shirt, that's not a beefcake shot. It's because there was no shirt to wear. Okay? So I come, if you notice in the background, you see Tony Schwartz.
Jean-Pierre Dorliac going.
So they have a shot with me when Dirk is at the table playing, but of course Starbuck is playing with our money, of course. He's making all of these big bets. So who is it? Ed Begley Jr., Tony Schwartz, and a bunch of the other guys. We're all standing back in the birthing area, kind of having a conference about what this guy's doing with our money. And I'm supposed to walk down the stairs, cross the way, shirtless, of course, all the way over to him and lean over the table and say, what are you doing with our money we haven't seen? That entire walk was in the deleted scenes in the DVD set. For some reason, they did not want to see me walking around with my shirt on. So, why are you laughing at me?
I'm not laughing at you, baby, you're gorgeous. I just think it's so funny that,
Well, you know, I was in the scene and I had that idea to do those braids. I thought that would be really fun. And so we did a few scenes and then all of a sudden, I mean, we shot our scene and I was just at the controls and then somebody, a hairdresser came over and she started taking out my braids. And it was in the middle of the scene. And I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? And she said, they decided they want me to look sexier. And I said, but I'm not sexy. It's not going to work. And it was like, but that's what they want. So then all of a sudden, honestly, my hair wasn't even brushed. And then we continued the scene. It was like, wow, okay.
my first day,
Wabash in the
they
middle
put,
of the
my first day, my hair was up in a knot on top of my head.
Yeah.
Under the, be businesslike and fit under the helmet.
Yes.
Shot halfway through the stuff with Richard Bacon, I said, take her hair down.
Yeah.
And I went, really? They did the same thing to me?
Well, me, halfway through the scene, they can just pad the crotch. Same thing, they're just not sexy enough.
And you did that with the pyramid winnings. At the end of that poker scene, you shove all of the stuff down your pants. That's what when they get the reward, he takes all the cubits in the pants.
It was a science fiction show, but it wasn't real. It was a soap opera, but it was supposed to be not acting, but it was all about being sexy.
You got another question back there? A new person?
Right here.
Yes, sir.
What was the material used for the Cylon armor, and how did they create the voices for the Cylon?
Richard? Oh, he's not here.
Oh, Miss Richard.
Can you?
There was plastic. The sun was
I
plastic.
think that was plastic. I wouldn't know the term to use
We
and
actually
all of
do
that.
have
Oh, here's the authority. Let's let you tell us.
I did the panel over at Lockhart. So. No, actually they were vacuum formed,
Vacuum.
plastic,
That's what it is.
and metallicized.
merchandise and stuff. Actually, he just was here. We actually have an original Sylon helmet here to show for the next panel. So if you want to actually see the construction and the actual 100% authentic, then we do have that. And the voices were actually voice coded. The vocoder 5000, you know, really, like we actually kind of, he has the, all this stuff on that, but that was basically a guy talking with a through machine. Pretty new stuff. So. Cool. If you need construction stuff, ask me.
Thank you.
Don't bother. But ask the person who knows, he knows what I'm looking at.
Speaking of.
Could you tell us why James Seymour didn't like doing the show?
Hey, I was wondering for the longest time.
Can you be louder?
I was wondering for the longest time, were you guys all left-handed or was that written into the script?
Were we all what?
Left-handed,
The
because
only
you all shot your guns with
southpaw
your...
in our group was
Richard.
Richard.
Because it looked like everyone had their guns in their left hand.
Well, that's Richard.
No, mine was
Unless you put it all in reverse.
Maybe I was mistaken.
No, Richard Hatch is the only southpaw in our group.
Oh, okay.
In the principal cast.
He's actually right-handed, but he wanted to be different, so he was desperate to do something unique in the show, so he stopped the lip.
You have a question for us? What?
I was just going to say, I did hear something about James Seymour.
Oh, do
Apparently,
tell.
apparently she wrote a lot of money.
Hey, Glenn, why don't you do that in your panel? Your panel comes up next, right?
You guys just remind me.
Yeah, keep that for yours.
I wasn't
Keep
going to
it
be in
room.
there.
See, now I want to know. I'm really curious.
What did you tell me?
I know too much. That's my problem.
Yeah,
I know where all the bodies are buried.
So do I. I'm the one that replaced her.
Any question? Any other question? Next question. Yes, sir.
Were any of you into science fiction before you started the show, or when you started going Microns, Cylons, Centurions? What are these?
Well, we learned all of that, but I've been in sci-fi fella since I was old enough to look up in the sky and wonder what was around the stars. I've been in sci-fi since, excited about sci-fi since about 6, 7 years old. When I was a boy, Dirk, did you have science fiction theater in Montana?
we have any theater. We had no television. You know that. I don't get on television, that's why I'm just... Seriously, you make it... I'm not cheating a joke. I had no TV theater. I had no movie house.
I'm learning a little bit about that.
It was a big embarrassment, you know, I didn't even know Roger, or even,
No, but you
what's it?
had books.
I used to watch Star Trek when I was a kid. Another show that I used to watch.
Gone.
Do you remember Captain Video? You went to back east or the Midwest? Remember Captain Video? I'm talking about in the 50s when we were
Commander
about
Cody.
7, 8 years old. We had kiddie shows that were sci-fi related. And it was through those kiddie shows that I really got an interest in science fiction, math, and science.
I remember the original flash cord. You saw the wires in the spark cord coming out the back of
And
the...
they showed and you see, they showed those
Cereals.
on TV.
Cereals.
That's the cereals. Yep. King Mean from the planet Mongol.
Like horribly deprived.
Yeah.
It's okay, Dirk. It's okay. Let it out.
Yes, we got it. Yes.
We're on for help.
I have a question about robot taper and story.
Oh, about it. In the episode Fire in Space. Do y'all remember the Fire in Space episode? There's a scene where we're trapped in this area, and we decide to send Daggett up through the air ducts to bring back breathing gear for us. The one thing leads to another, and the Daggett, Muffy, comes through the air duct, dragging a bag of breathing apparatus for those of us who are trapped in this area. And the script calls for Boomer to go over, rip the bag open, pass out the portable breathing gear to everyone in the area. Now, in order to get the chimpanzee to be comfortable with this plastic bag of breathing gear, they have to let her play with it. Okay? So they let her play with it. She's dragging it around. Okay, now it's time to shoot. So they send the chip through the air duct. She pulls it through and drops it on the ground. And then I'm supposed to get up, take it from her, rip it open, and pass out the gear. Well, you've just given a 3-year-old chimp a toy that it has learned to play with now for the last hour and a half. And now this guy is going to come and take it away from it. Bucky didn't read the script. So I reach up, I grab the bag, and you hear all these monkey sounds coming out of the Daggett. It pulls fucking, those things are strong. It doesn't have the fingers because it has the hooks. So it wrapped its arms around this plastic bag. It's pulling it's pulling. Finally, it dropped the bag and stood up on its hind feet, its hind legs, and started taking swings at it. We didn't see all that. So I jumped into a stance. Look, I wish we could have saved that.
You know, and these are professional trained actors you're looking at.
Yeah.
And we are called to do things like fight with monkeys?
There was a big crack up on the set, and finally the monkey had to re-establish the taking of the bag from the monkey, but that's something you didn't see. But a 3-year-old chimpanzee,
All I ever did was spank the monkey.
it's a different panel. That's the adult panel.
I said, who would have actually won if you were the monkey? Could you have taken it?
Say again?
Could you have taken him?
Monkey, who would have won?
It's hard to say because, man, they don't fight, you know.
I
You get a ticked off monkey that takes that helmet off, man, because they use these.
Yeah.
A chimpanzee will bite their face off. They will bite your face off. So, I'm not going there. I'd rather not. Oh, yeah.
Recovering.
We're in Galactica.
Who wants to start with that one?
I'm doing nothing.
Who lives up in God's country? You can afford it.
I'm up in Montana. I raised my sons for the last 20 years. Now they're raised, so I sit and reflect and smoke and drink.
There you go.
I don't recommend it, but
What area of Montana?
northwest corner near Glacier Park, Flathead Lake, up there. We're about 60 miles, 70 miles from Canada.
70 miles for electricity.
Yeah,
Do you have any TV up there now?
I do.
You get satellite? You get satellite?
I got all them damn channels. I got them all. Yeah.
Food Network?
I play the piano a lot. I got a beautiful grand piano. I play that, music, and I do a lot of work on the property. Ski, I go skiing. I follow my son's soccer career, and I, kind of get out. I have a 99-year-old mother. I spend a lot of time with her. It's been so magical. It's so magical. because she's like 16 now. When we get older, we turn into the... So she's telling me all this stuff that, you know, whenever we're talking about it. She's great. She's a healthy 99. I tell her she could pass for 80, which sounds old, but not when you're 99. She's so cute, you know. We're sitting just a month ago, I'm sitting in the living room. And we're sitting there, I'm smoking a cigar. She loves my cigars. She drives me crazy. Oh, honey, why don't you have another cigar? So I'm sitting there, and she's reading the paper. She goes, honey? I go, yeah, Mom. How old am I again? I said, Mom, this is before her birthday. So I said, you're 98. Well, I am not. I said, Mom. So now she's arguing. I go, Mom, you were born in 1917. She goes, well. And then she goes, and I watch her. I knew it's coming. She was an accountant. She gets up, go gets her calculator, and I see her go, 1917, 2016. Well, that's very old. She said, it's awful. It's just awful. And then she looks at me. She's how old are you once? She asked me how old I was. She's very old. Well, it's kind of weird when your kids are 71, because, you know, you always think of your kids as being 8. So, when your kids are I'm telling you, it's so amusing, and I love driving her. She's so much fun. She never complains. She would drive around, and, oh, look at the flowers, all the trees. We like to go, oh, we saw a wolf. Last time I was there, because we got wolves now showing up all over. So we're driving there, and I thought it was a coyote. There's a wolf. She's got wolf stories from her childhood, and it's just great. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm so blessed. I lost my dad really early, but I'm getting this. And my mom and I didn't get along for 20 years, because she didn't understand what the hell I was doing. I was a failure. I was an actor, and I made money, and I didn't make money. It just weird. Because there was nothing. I didn't know what it was. It was like I joined a cult, really. So, I didn't communicate, you know, just because I didn't want to bring her pain. So I couldn't tell her, you know, I haven't had a job for 6 years or a year and a half. So, but now we're just like peace in the world.
Is she in White Summer Springs?
Yeah. White Summer Springs.
And that's how far from where you live in Montana?
285 miles.
We have time for one
Oh, no, we got to
No, we didn't answer that question. Only Dirk answered that question.
I'm still plugging away, thank God for commercials. And also I have a 13-year-old, which is a miracle, and she is just the best thing that's ever happened to me. Good.
I don't believe in retiring. I will retire when the good Lord says it's time for me to retire. I'm still available. I do independent film here and there. I do a lot of community service work with several organizations, including the California Special Olympics. Okay.
There you go.
Coach, fundraiser, awards presenter, and I was an escort for many of the delegations for the World Games that were held in Los Angeles last year. And I have escorted Cuban delegation and the German delegation and the delegation from the Czech Republic. Housed in Studio City, along with redtail.org, which celebrates the Tuskegee Airmen, the Wounded Warrior Project, and Operation Stand Down. Show business is what I do. Film, television, and theater is still my passion, but it's not who I am in my heart. Okay? So there are a number of other organizations that I work with, but I could go on and on and on about them, but you can look those up.
There's something you forgot that happened this year.
Oh, my new grandpa! Those of you who know that I have a daughter, my daughter Rebecca was born at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, 1985, July 16, at 10:30 a.m. 6 pounds, 13 ounces. Okay, doors down from where I helped deliver my daughter on November 20th, 2014, 11:03 p.m. So yeah. Thank you for reminding me. I just didn't want to get too long-winded because I want you guys to go with
I'll be quick. I'm still working. I have not stopped. I do television. I do independent films. I do stage work all the time. I have been a voice actress since the mid-'70s. It's been my secret career. I've done hundreds of films and television and animated things like Little Mermaid and Space Jam and Roger Rabbit. I can't remember all of them, to be honest with you. But I am currently in my 5th season of voice work on Chicago Fire. Anybody watch that? Well, every time that tone goes off in the firehouse, I'm the voice of disaster. It's me saying, truck 81, ambulance 61, bridge collapse, 428 Main Street 9. You know, it's me.
You could have had that role.
I have to hustle out of here because I have to be at Universal Studios tomorrow morning at 8:45 in the morning. So I'm working on Chicago Fire. And I have 2 kids. My daughter Carly is 29 and my son Zane is 25, and they are the lights of my life, and they live like within 2 miles of me, so life's good.
I went back to my theater roots in the 90s, which was always my passion, and branched out then to directing theater because my passion will always be for my craft, but it's also to pay forward what I know in the manner that I know in this world of negativity. I think we need voices of confidence and nurturing. And as a theater director, I like to pass on everything that I know that is good in this industry to all of you who are creative, and encourage you to never give up whatever creative instincts you may have. And my back day, when I have that theater panel in about an hour, and I'm a grandpa.
Yes,
My oldest son just turned 40 today, and I called him and said, "When did you get older than I am?" So we should go. We gotta do it.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's no reason for us to be up here if it weren't for you individually and collectively. Thank you so much for